The bell above the door of Second Glances chimed a soft, bronze note, a sound that had greeted customers for over 70 years. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of old paper, lemon polish, and time itself. Elias Finch, a man so slight he seemed to be woven from dust and tweed, looked up from mending the spine of a 19th-century botany guide. His shop was a museum of the misplaced. It didn't sell valuable antiques, but rather the things that had fallen through the cracks of the world: single cufflinks, orphan keys, faded photographs of unsmiling people, chipped teacups, and letters never sent. Elias was the keeper of these lost things, believing that every object held a silent, waiting story. The customer was a young woman, her face pale and her eyes red-rimmed. She clutched a small, threadbare teddy bear. "I was told you, take things," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "I provide a home for items that have lost theirs," Elias corrected gently. "What is its name?" The woman looked startled. "Barnaby." "How did you know it had a name?" "Everything beloved has a name," Elias said, taking the bear. "One button I was missing, and its fur was worn smooth from years of love." He saw the story in it instantly: a childhood comfort, a well-loved friend. A common tale, but no less precious. I'm moving overseas. I can't take him. It feels like a betrayal, just throwing him away." Her words tumbled out, laced with guilt. "He will be safe here," Elias assured her. He wrote Barnaby on a small tag in his precise script and placed the bear on a shelf next to a porcelain shepherdess and a brass compass that always pointed west. After she left, the silence of the shop settled back around him. This was his purpose: to hold the weight of other people's letting go. As evening drew in, painting the dusty windowsills gold, Elias prepared to close. His ritual was always the same. He would brew a cup of Earl Grey in a chipped mug that read "He world's okayest grandpa," and he would choose one item from the shelves. He would hold it, and in the quiet, he would listen. Not with his ears, but with his soul. And the story would come. Tonight, his fingers bypassed Barnaby the bear and settled on a small, cold object tucked away at the back of a shelf, a woman's wristwatch. It wasn't elegant or valuable. Its stainless steel band was scratched, and its face was a simple, clean white with black numerals. But it had weight. And it was stopped, forever, at 4:08. Elias took the watch to his worn armchair by the counter, sipped his tea, and closed his eyes, his fingers curled around the cold metal. The images came not as a movie, but as fragments of sensation and emotion. The frantic beat of a heart. Not his. The smell of rain on hot asphalt. The blur of streetlights through a rain-smeared window. A voice, tight with fear: "Just hold on, we're almost there." The stark, antiseptic smell of a hospital. And overwhelming it all, a crushing, desperate love, and a terror so profound it was a physical pain. Elias's eyes snapped open, his own heart racing. This was not a story of gentle loss. This was a story of emergency, of a moment frozen in trauma. The watch had stopped at the moment of impact. A car accident. He looked at the watch with new reverence. It had been a witness. But whose was it? And why was it here? The next day, he placed the watch on the counter beside his ledger. He asked every customer who came in, few as they were, if it looked familiar. An old man buying a replacement hinge for a glasses case just shook his head. A woman looking for a specific pattern of teacup frowned at it. "Looks cheap," she said dismissively. A week passed. The memory of the watch story haunted Elias. It felt urgent, unresolved. He started taking walks in the evening, something he rarely did, carrying the watch in his pocket. He found himself drawn to the nearby hospital, pacing the surrounding streets, as if the watch was a dowsing rod seeking its source. One evening, under the sodium glow of a street lamp, he saw her. An elderly woman was sitting on a bench, staring blankly at the traffic. She was neatly dressed, but her posture spoke of a deep, enduring exhaustion. On her wrist was a watch. Its twin. Elias's breath caught. He approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. "Good evening," he said softly. She turned to him. Her eyes were the color of a winter sky, and they held a sadness so deep it seemed to have worn grooves in her face. "Hello," she replied, her voice quiet but clear. Elias sat beside her. He didn't know what to say. He simply opened his hand, the stopped watch resting on his palm. The woman's gasp was a small, sharp thing. She didn't reach for it. She just stared, her hand flying to her own wrist. Where did you get that?" "It was left at my shop," Elias said. "A long time ago, I think. My shop is a place for lost things." Tears welled in her winter blue eyes but did not fall. "His name was Arthur," she whispered, her gaze fixed on the watch. "My husband. That was his. A gift from me, for our 40th anniversary. He never liked fancy things. He said this one was of honest. She took a shaky breath. It was raining. A truck skidded through a red light. We were on our way to see our new granddaughter for the first time. Her fingers trembled as she touched the face of the watch in Elias's hand. The impact, it must have shattered the mechanism. It stopped at the exact moment. She didn't need to finish. Elias nodded, his throat tight. He was driving. He was gone before the ambulance even arrived. I couldn't look at it afterwards. The nurse must have taken it off my wrist. I suppose I left it there. I didn't want to remember that moment. I wanted to remember him." For a long time, they sat in silence, the sounds of the city a distant hum around them. "Would you like it back?" Elias asked finally. She looked from the stopped watch on his palm to the identical, ticking one on her wrist. She thought for a long moment, then shook her head slowly. "No," she said, and the word seemed to surprise her with its certainty. "No, that watch holds the worst moment of my life. But it also holds the last moment of his. It's a truth. A hard one. But I don't need to carry it anymore." She looked at Elias, a faint, weary light in her eyes. "You keep it. You're the keeper of lost things, aren't you?" Elias felt a profound sense of awe. "How did you know what I call myself?" She gave a small, sad smile. "I didn't. It's just what you are, isn't it? Some things need to be lost for a while. And some people need to find them, just so they can let them go again. You hold the weight for us. That is a rare and sacred thing." She patted his hand, her touch light as a leaf. Then she stood, straightened her coat, and walked away, her figure growing smaller and finally disappearing into the twilight. Elias sat on the bench until the streetlights flickered on. He looked down at the watch in his hand. It was no longer just a vessel of pain. It was a story completed. A truth acknowledged. It was, finally, at peace. He returned to second glances. He didn't put the watch back on the shelf with the other lost things. Instead, he placed it in a small wooden box on the mantelpiece behind the counter, a box for stories that had found their ending. The bell chimed. Elias looked up, ready to listen, ready to hold the weight, ready to be the keeper for one more lost thing.